So I think because we're always around adults, and obviously adults around children will like cater their behavior to the children, but when it's like all adults and one kid, there's only so much you're really going to change. So I think yeah.
Hello and welcome to Grind Hustle Repeat, conversations around creativity and culture. I'm your host, Neat Okai Evans.
And me, Neat Okai Evans. This is a show where we talk to creative entrepreneurs and discuss the ups and downs of their creative journeys. And hopefully, by sharing, it provides guidance for others.
What are you doing? Come out of my seat, man. Every time I just turn my back, you people just always in my business, man. Kind of nothing nice around here. Apologies for that. They're a bit excited by my guest today, but with good reason. So my guest today is quietly forging a name for himself in the music industry, and his mindset and his work ethic is sure to make him a household name. Already at the tender age of 11, he's experienced life as a creative when he joined the cast of Thriller Live at the Lyric Theatre, playing a young Michael Jackson. But more recently, last year, he burst onto our screens again in Little Mix The Search as he wowed the girls with his performance of Macklemore and Ryan Lewis's Can't Hold Us. And definitely there is nothing holding him down. My guest today on Grind Hustle Repeats is Zeekay Williams from New Priority. Z, welcome to the show, man. Welcome to the show. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, man. That intro was cool. That intro was pretty good stuff.
Well, you know, we like to, as I say, we like to give people their flowers on this show. We like to give people their flowers. Thank you very much for taking the time to speak to me today.
Pleasure.
So 2020, yeah, like crazy year for most people in terms of, you know, kind of getting to grips with a pandemic and whatnot have you. But for you, on top of all of that, you were juggling, you know, this whole pandemic thing, the homeschooling thing, but then on top of that, secretly holding it down of being in this show, Little Mix The Search. Can you talk to us a little bit about last year and how things have panned out for you?
It was weird. It was like I started auditioning for Little Mix The Search in November of the last year. So I was 15 in my first audition, just like a week before I turned 16. And then 2020 starts. We film the audition episodes January, February, and then March, everything shuts down, including school, which was really weird because I was supposed to do my GCSEs, and then schools got closed down. So it was like, for me, it was more like I had less to do rather than more to do, because then the show got pushed back and I had no school. Exams got cancelled, and it was just kind of like, it was really plain because it was kind of like just as everything starts happening, especially for like people my age and me in particular, everything just shuts down. And I was excited to have no school, but then consequence was that the show didn't happen, and then it got pushed back again, and it got to a point where we were just like, what if it doesn't happen at all? And it was me and the guys had actually become good friends, so it's kind of like we really did want it to happen, and it would have happened all very quickly. Originally it would have happened in April and May, and the tour would have happened in the June and July, and I would have ended up doing my GCSE exams on the tour if we were to win and it wasn't for the coronavirus pandemic hitting. So I think it was weird, but I'm not really complaining either, because I think everything kind of turned out better than it would have, if I'm being 100% honest.
So what's the situation now with you and the guys, and have you still managed to maintain a relationship with Little Mix? What's happening there?
Me and the guys are working on our own music right now, trying to perfect it before we release anything, because we don't want to end up releasing anything that we look back at in like 10 years and we're like, we shouldn't have released this. it's fine for it to be a little bit, cringe, because I think music changes over time anyway. So we're always going to look back and say, could have been better or could have fit today a bit more. But yeah, we're just working on our own music. Don't really keep too in touch with everyone. We try to as much as we can. We still have blessed relationships with everyone included in the show, everyone from the show. But we don't really, I think everyone is still at a stage where we're all just trying to lift off. So we're all pretty like quiet about our business, and we just keep it stepping individually. But we are all very like in touch when we can be.
So going back to the show for a second, because obviously I know I'm biased. I know you. I've known you since you know. And when you guys came out when you did, like it was a real shocker. Did you? Obviously, you guys know, like as a group, like we're a good group. We're all really good singers, and so you have a level of confidence going in. Did you feel like, okay, this is ours to win, or did you feel like, okay, no, we got like a real fight on our hands?
Going into the sing-off, so when we're going to sing our second song, To Save Our Place, that song we actually hated in rehearsal. Like, we could never get the harmonies right. We had never ever perfected it before. And when we went on and performed it, by the end of it, we were like, there's no way we haven't won this. Because I think in the moment, all of our heads were just so screwed on, and we came out with it perfectly that we had never done before. We had never got it right in rehearsal. So that was the first time we ever done it perfectly, and it sounded really good. We think the audience enjoyed it. And I'm pretty sure the cast members were pretty shocked about it as well, because we hadn't really had a chance to show off our vocals as such. Even though we were singing all the time, we still didn't have like a song where we really got to show off our vocals properly. And I think when we did, especially with the 5-part harmonies, we came off real confident. We were like, yeah, cool. Because when we did get put in the bottom 2, we went back, sat down, and we were all pretty like down. Like Talis was really trying to keep us upbeat, because he was like, no one put their heads down, let's just stay up and go into this sing off more confident than we went on for the original. But me and Casey were down, and we were like, yo, let's just, now we didn't really speak. We just stayed silent the whole time. We watched all the other performances happen, sat silently. Then when it came back to the time, I think all of us had just gone through so much of a thought process that we came in and we're like, yeah, we got this. And we went on, we performed as best as we could. And yeah, we thought we had it. We thought we had it in the bag.
Sometimes things aren't meant to be. But whenever I talk to you about this whole situation, one of the things that always stands out for me, and you kind of mentioned it there a little bit, is you have a level-headedness about you, and you're very kind of focused. Now, as I mentioned in your intro, when you were 11, you started off in Thriller Live, playing a young Michael Jackson. So the experience isn't necessarily new to you. What do you think that you've taken from your experience in Thriller Live, and you've been able to bring into this new experience with Little Mix and Search, and then obviously what happens now, now that you're out of the competition?
I definitely think at Thriller, being so young, it definitely taught me professionalism from really young. And I think it definitely helped going on to any future project I did from then, even like auditions for stuff I didn't even get, for even acting auditions over singing auditions. I definitely think it brought professionalism into my life. I think the fact that I was working around just a bunch of adults, like there was other kids that we shared the role with, but when I started, we were never like working with the kids. Like we were always there at separate times, or doing like separate shows, or only on tour would we see each other. But even then, it was only 2 of us. So I think because we're always around adults, and obviously adults around children will like cater their behavior to the children, but when it's like all adults and 1 kid, there's only so much you're really going to change. So I think being around straight adults all the time just kind of made me grow up a little bit faster, and working with professionals like the band on the show, for example, who would like help me with my musical ability and like tell me how to improve, and me just listening to the other singers and hearing them do certain stuff, then I try it myself. I think it made me a better singer as well as a better professional. So I think it made me a better entertainer as well. And having that experience on stage is probably why I stood out so much on the show for my stage presence and my performance ability, because that experience definitely made me a better performer than I was before.
Brilliant. Now, I've been seeing a lot of your covers that you've done over the last couple of years or so. Generally speaking, when it comes to music, who do you take inspiration from?
Ooh, music-wise.
Apart from me, because what obviously a lot of people don't know is that I used to be Zuriel's vocal coach.
Yeah.
And obviously, you've progressed, and I'm proud of you. So apart from me, who are your creative inspirations?
That's actually a really difficult question. It's a really difficult question because realistically, nowadays I don't really listen to music too much. Like I like a song, but yeah, like I don't really like. There's never times where I walk to school with like headphones in and go through my Spotify playlist. I didn't even have a Spotify playlist till a couple months ago, so it's I still kind of go off my older inspirations, such as like Chris Brown, I think like Justin Timberlake, New Edition, Bobby Brown, without even realizing, just having mum play it around the house when I was younger. But nowadays, I think I'm really starting to find my own sound where I don't really hear any other artists in the music I make. So I think I would definitely have to go off like my older influences. Obviously Michael Jackson as well. And recently I'm really liking Jasmine Sullivan. I think Jasmine Sullivan's probably having a bit of influence on my sound right now.
I think it's her Tiny Desk concert. Have you
Yeah.
Jasmine, yeah, definitely, man. I'm with you on that. See, that's because of that's my influence on you. That
yeah, it's naturally just comes over.
Let the people know, man. Let the people know. Like, obviously, and the dancing as well. Tell them about my dancing. Let's flip this around. Let's this interview be about me. Tell them about my dancing skills and my singing skills. Please go on. Tell the people.
You were self-taught with your dancing, right?
Yeah.
That was all you. You taught yourself how to dance, right?
That was all me. I had nobody to learn from, so I would just sometimes pick up books and just, get a feel of the dance move from the books, and then it just turned me into a great dancer. And then I see
some of the parties. I see the boys got moves as well. I'm assuming that's from you as well.
Listen, those boys wouldn't be able to dance if it wasn't for me.
100%.
Oh dear. You are also talented, like, as an actor as well. Is the idea to be like the double threat or the triple threat, or do you have a passion more in one area?
The number one is always music. I think for me, the number one will always be music. But I definitely want to do acting just as much as I want to do music, because it was always a thing where I wanted to become an actor first, because I feel like I was always scared because I never did like proper acting classes and like went to a drama school or anything like that. So I was always scared that if I was to be like a musician first, then go into acting, thinking I'm better than I am, I'll just get like a lot of hate because I'm not good enough in a role or something. Because a lot of singers that go on to acting will get like a lot more criticized than just straight actors about their acting. They'll always look deeper and be like, nah, you should have stuck to music or whatever that is. So I always wanted to be an actor first and then switch to music, because I know that I'm such a good singer. No one can tell me I'm not a good singer, if you know what I mean.
I guess
whereas
your biggest talent.
Yeah.
But it's funny though, because you say that, but then randomly, the person that came to mind was Eddie Murphy. And obviously Eddie Murphy, as an actor and a comedian, we all know. And then he had his moment where he branched out into music, and everybody was like, Eddie, what are you doing? What are you doing? So I think the point is that I guess it's sensible in terms of your idea of leading with what you feel is your strongest strength. But then also, I think the way that audiences are sometimes, they can be fickle. And just because they know you for one thing, they're always going to find it hard when you begin to transition into something else. And I think that's just sometimes how human beings are.
Yeah, literally. But I will go into it in the future. There will be a point where even if I stop music for a bit to do it, I definitely will do it, because I've enjoyed doing things in the past.
What's like a dream acting role?
Number one is a comic book character, like a superhero Marvel character. Number two, I want to do a sort of sci-fi thing where I play like an alien or something. I don't know why, but definitely like an alien or an animal or something, like motion capture. And then number three is a cartoon character. I want to do voice acting as well. So I'd be like a cartoon character.
Cool. So this year, 2021, we're hopefully coming to the end of all of this kind of lockdown thing that we've been experiencing. What are your plans for the year? How do you guys have kind of been, in a sense, tucked away for a bit. You've been doing your things online and what have you, but what plans do you have moving forward to kind of, I guess, in a sense, reestablish yourselves to your audiences again?
Yeah, definitely gonna have to reestablish ourselves, I say, and come out kind of different, because the last time we were very public like that, we came 5th place on a competition show, and that's not really who New Priority is. So definitely just trying to get the right music 100%, and probably come out with some summer bangers, trying to get some music videos sorted as well, so we have like everything perfected. And we also need to work on how we're going to do our promotion behind the scenes as well, because when we drop it, we want to drop it right. We want it to do the numbers we think it deserves to do. And then hopefully as well, we get to do some gigs and stuff when like live performances are allowed and stuff. Because I think doing a lot of live shows, when we can actually prove that we're really good singers, will gain us like more of a fan base as well as on social media, more like just having people know who we are, just as well as having people follow us on social media because they saw that TikTok or they saw that cover, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. What do you think? Because since the show, your popularity has increased. What's kind of been the craziest moment that you've had so far where you're like, rah, okay, like people kind of know who I am?
There's been a few, not like a few, but there was kind of, I think there was 2 times that would be like getting recognized in public 2 times. That stood out for me. Actually, no, there's more than a few. There was one day, there was basically a weekend where the guy stayed at mine, and we're walking down the road, and a car drives by, and the car drives past us and goes, "Man, like Little Mix," and we were just like, "What?" What? And then the same walk, on the same journey, we go into Iceland to get some food to go back to my house and cook. And we're in Iceland, we're at the tills, we're paying, and we've all got our face masks off. And I see this young girl, maybe about 12 years old, and she's with her mum. And I see for a second, Casey takes off his face mask and her eyes light up, like her eyes just go. And then I look at her and I tap Casey, I'm like, put it back on. And I just see her, she goes to her mum, she like pulls her mum's shirt, and then straight away, we're looking, but the guys have finished packing the rest of the stuff. So we just walk out the shop. And it was just really weird because I could see in her eyes, she was like, it's there. And then there was one time where I go to the shop called After Hours to get some food. Very nice place. And I'm ordering my food. And the woman takes my order. I pay, and she looks at me and she goes, "You're on that singing show?" I was like, yeah, I was. And it was there because I go to the shop all the time. And then to get recognized by someone that works there, I was like, okay. Maybe a couple people do know me.
Do you still like do you have any relationship with Little Mix? Do you still keep in touch with them or anything like that?
When we post stuff like covers and stuff like that, they'll usually repost it. But nah, not really.
Okay. I was gonna say, so in everything, do you think like Little Mix's search has been your defining moment so far, or do you think your defining moment is still to come?
So far, I'd say definitely, yeah. But I reckon it will change this year. If not this year, next year. The defining moment will definitely change because they did a lot it introduced me to the guys, which I always be thankful to Little Mix for, because those guys are actually like my closest friends. But we definitely have much more in the bag. Like, got us a couple thousand followers, but we definitely got a lot more followers to go, a lot more of audience to gain. So I say right now it would be, but definitely will change in the near future.
Okay. So one of the questions that I ask people all the time, like it's like the last two questions that I ask people is, what's the best advice you've ever been given? And then what advice would you give to your younger self at 16? Now, asking you what advice you would give to your younger self at 16 probably isn't like that effective, because we're going back, what, last year?
Yeah.
Exactly. So what advice would you give to like an 11-year-old Zuriel? But then also, second part to that is, where do you see Zuriel at 25?
Best advice. What would I say to my 11-year-old self? I'd probably, right now, I think things are probably working out not the way I expected, but possibly better than what I expected. So if I was to talk to my younger self, I think I'd just say keep going, because he's not really doing anything that he shouldn't be. So I'd probably say keep going. Maybe literally just make more music, make more, because I think I didn't make a lot of music, but I think I could have perfected my sound a bit earlier. Even though I'm still 17, I think I could have perfected it a bit earlier. So I literally say make more music, man. Just get it, like, learn yourself, learn your voice, learn your music a lot better. So like, I just only end up being more professional now.
And where do you see Zeekay at 25?
25, probably very, very good position. I think I would have done a lot of the stuff I plan on doing. I think I have a couple of awards on the shelf. And I think a lot of good music in the catalogue. And I generally think I'll be in a very, very good place. I think I'll be very happy. I think that's probably when I'll try to start focusing more on acting and stuff. I think I'll try to branch out into movie world, maybe even theatre, because I did enjoy musical theatre a lot more. But I definitely think I'll be somewhere close to the top of the world, if not at the top of the world.
And what do you think has been like the best advice that you've ever been given so far?
This I don't know. Oh, you know what? This wasn't even a piece of advice I was given, but I saw it in a movie. One of my favorite movies. Sorry, my favorite movie ever, the New Edition story. And there's a scene where Brooke Payne, New Edition's manager, says to Michael Bivins, he says, he says, close that big ass mouth and open up those big ass ears. You learn a lot more listening than talking, or something along those lines. So basically said, talk less and listen more, because you actually take or you learn more. So I definitely say that's a big one for me. I've learned a lot more listening than talking, and I still go by that.
That's very good advice. That's very good advice. Looking back at last year, like I always think it's good to be super reflective, especially on kind of when big things happen like that. What do you think has been your takeaway from last year with everything that happened?
I think it's literally, you can never be, it would be, there's always more you can be doing. There's always more you can be doing, because I learned, like, when everything's shut down and all I have is myself at home in my bedroom, I've done a lot more in my bedroom than I ever thought I would be doing in my bedroom. So I definitely say there's always more you can do. Like, there's always something you can do about your current situation. And there's always a lot more you can do. Even when everything's closed, it only takes yourself to improve yourself.
Amen. Hey, you should also become a pastor. It's like you're preaching out here.
Still, that's kind of fresh.
Oh dear. Like I said before, like I love your energy in the sense that you're really level-headed and you've got like a clear idea for your future. Where do you think that trait comes from? Because if we're to judge you by how the media loves to portray young men of your age, the way that you think and approach life isn't necessarily what they tell us. So where do you think that all of that comes from?
I think it's literally just, it comes from understanding how the media portray us. Because I can say I would have been through a lot of the same things most of other young black guys projected in the media in a certain light would have also been through. But I just understand that sometimes that's how they want it to look. So I would treat it like not that it hasn't happened, but like it doesn't have to change me and make me a negative character. I could just take it and kind of like say, yeah, that happened, but I'm still professional. You know what I mean? I can still prove that. Like just cause I'm a young black man don't mean I can't be as professional as anyone else.
Amen. Amen to that. And I think that, you know, this year, I really think we're gonna be able to see you put those words into action, and actually really grow into the man that you're destined to become. And I for one am really looking forward to that, because as I said, being your vocal coach and your dance coach, it's great to see it's great to see your growth. It's great to see your growth. I actually had a very specific question from the boys, and they wanted to know, like, now this year, how are you handling homeschooling and the band? How is that all?
It is very hard. It is very, very hard. Because in my mind, it really feels like if I'm giving 50% to both, I won't get 100% out of either. So it's really a thing where I literally just have to take it day by day and think, what do I have to do today? What do I have to do tomorrow? Rather than what do I have to do about new priority or about school. I just kind of, and because I go to a music college as well, it does kind of help because it can like tie in a lot of the time. My school tries to make it as easy for me as possible to like make my work kind of tie into my schoolwork. So sometimes if I can't even make it to school, the thing I do outside of school that day can then link into my schoolwork and become my schoolwork. So I give props to my school for making it a lot easier for me. But homeschooling wise, this is just like it's almost done. I'm just literally pushing through it. That's all I can say.
You know what, again, I love the outlook, because I'm not gonna lie. As you were saying, the 50-50 analogy, the African dad parent in me was about to come out and be like, why can't you put 100% into both? Yeah. But when you then expanded that to in sense of, rather than thinking about new priority or thinking about school, just dealing with it. Today I'm going to do this. Tomorrow I'm going to do that. I think a lot of the time, and that's not specific to age. I think that's just humans. A lot of the time we approach things and we're like, there's this massive thing that we want to do, this massive thing that we want to achieve. And because we're looking at it in its entirety, the feeling of accomplishment can feel really far away or overwhelming. But it's so important just to kind of take a step back and be like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this today. And as long as what you're doing today in some way, shape or form feeds in to the bigger picture, then that's progress. So that's brilliant. I'm going to ask two things of you before you go. I'm currently curating a grind, hustle, repeat playlist on Spotify. Okay. And so the idea of the playlist is like, it's almost like, you know, Rocky, the theme music to Rocky, where you're getting psyched up. So it's like your tune, that's the equivalent to that. So what would be your addition? What song would be your addition to the playlist?
Logic, The Return.
Okay. So now my second question is, can you give us a bit
Of the song? I'll just do the hook. I'm trying to think about how much inappropriate language the verses have. The chorus is, I get up when I'm down, had enough, almost ran with shit rough. I get tough, and when I'm beaten to the ground, I get up. I get up. I get up. I get up.
I like that. I think that's very appropriate lyrics to end on.
But yeah.
And thank you for not doing the explicit version. Now,
Yeah.
Zeekay, man, it's always refreshing to speak with you, because, and I know I've said it numerous times already in this thing, but it is like just so yeah, it's just brilliant to see, like, you're not necessarily dazzled by all of the things that have happened to you, and you've got this laser-like focus, which I think is so important to hold on to as more and more success comes your way. So I'm really happy to see that. So thank you for your time. This is the final show of the season. So yeah, you have that accolade. So thank you very much for your time. And I am looking forward to hearing new music from yourself and the rest of the guys. Zeekay, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me, man. Thank you. Okay. You gotta grind, you gotta hustle and repeat it.